Hi guys, I'm Data from JGX and here we are with another Mech review. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you, if you haven't done that yet, to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy these kind of videos. The Stalker. So, the Stalker is one of the tankiest mechs in the game because of the shape. It's pretty small for the tonnage that it has, and the center torso is pretty narrow, pretty small as well. It does not expose the middle part when you turn it sideways, so it's not like that this part is center torso. You reg on the side torsos unless you hit the very tip of the nose. So given that the center torso is very small, when you tank, instead of turning the whole mech around like the Atlas, did you turn it this way to tank because you want to show the arms? For the Stalker, if you tank entirely the mech like this, you're actually helping the enemy to focus one of your side torsos. So when you want to tank on the Stalker, you basically just jiggle the nose a little bit like this. For example, if you see that the enemy is alpha striking this side, you just slightly move it the other way, and you'll tank the laser alpha with the CT and with the other torso. Same thing if they're focusing the other side, you just jiggle a little bit this way, and you basically spread the damage across the three torsos. Another thing to notice is the missile bay doors in the arms. So if you equip a missile inside the arms, even a shit one that doesn't weigh anything, you basically get 20% damage reduction on that component when you get hit. I don't think you really need it because the Stalker doesn't get targeted in the arms at all now that it got back its armor in the arms. But if you want to do it, you can do it. So these are the hitboxes. Let's go to the agility. The agility is pretty low for a mech of its class. The turn rate, like mechs of this kind of tonnage, usually have around 20 accel decel. The turn rate, even like a mech like a Banshee, has higher turn rate, 50 instead of 40. Let's check the Awesome, 45, 20, 23, while the Stalker has 15, 19 accel decel, 40 turn rate. So in terms of agility, this mech is pretty bad. In terms of tanking in a brawl, it's also pretty bad because it doesn't have arms that protect his side torsos. But it's good in terms of tanking lasers from long range or PPCs, because it is impossible with PPCs to pinpoint a certain component on this. And it's also impossible to keep track of a torso if the mech starts jiggling like this. Instead, in a brawl, the legs are pretty big, and you're going to go for the legs. So despite what 99% of the population do with this mech is not a brawler. This mech is a dedicated sniper. Except just one of those, could just say a couple of those. So we start from the one that I find the most interesting, 5S and 3F. The 5S is without any doubt the best trader in the game. 6 CR large, you can go like this, standard 300, 20 double heat sinks. If you want, you can reduce the amount of heat sinks and do something like this, but it starts becoming pretty hot. And you have even more range and crit chance, but it's honestly pretty hot, so I like to have 20 double heat sinks. The reason is that when you're trading at its extreme range, gauzes will not hit always the same component. Clan lasers will splash damage all over the place. With this one, if you fight, for example, a King Crab trader or a Dire Wolf or whatever, with this one, you just keep hitting the center torso. Because the CT of a direwolf is large, CT of the king crab is large, CT of the banshee is large, CT of the awesome is large. This one has a CT that is very small. So the enemy won't hit you always on the same component, and you will hit him always in the same component because it's inner sphere lasers. So to me, without any doubt, this is like best or top 3 best traders in the game. 6ER large lasers, 10 range. Better for quick play though, because you don't trade at extreme range with ER large lasers, is the Stalker 3F. Because instead of 10 range, you have 10 heat. And in quick play, you're just better off with 10 heat. The point is that in quick play, most of the engagements happen around 500, 400, 300 meters. So with 3F, you have more sustained DPS. Same build, just regular large lasers. Just to show you how abnormous is the difference between a 3F and a 5S in terms of sustained, I'll show you both of them in the testing ground. There is no doubt that you could find some angles, some proper angles to shoot from with the R largest in quick play, but usually the best way to farm quick play is to have builds that are set up for 500 meters engagement. So this is 6ER large with 10 range.
Target.
We are already past 50%. Just one volley, and we are past 80% with the second volley. Instead, if we take a 3F that has 10 heat, but also runs on regular large lasers for optimized performance in the mid-range department, this is how it looks like. Like, just to clarify, to me, the best Stalker for comp or for faction play is the 5S with 6ER large, but the best mech for mid-range engagements or mid-range maps, comp or quick play, if you want a mid-range engagement, the best one is the 3F. Arguably the laser vomit one. But this one just has more range than the laser vomit one and a lot more damage per hit. $568 is what you want.
Target.
I can shoot 4 and 2 because of ghost hit limitations.
Target destroyed. Heat level
I just got
critical.
1 extra volley. And I can shoot 4 on the first volley instead of 3. The mech itself is very cold.
Heat level critical.
You could replace 6 large lasers with 5 large pulses. It kind of works, but you would need to modify the engine because of the weight. 5 large pulses weight 35 tons, I think. 7 or 5, 35 tons. Instead, 6 large lasers actually weight. Let's try to see what happens. If we try to run it on large pulses, you basically have to downgrade the engine. Or eventually run an LFE and still downgrade the engine. The point is that this is one of the few mechs that doesn't run on XL because it's big side torso, so you should not run an XL on this. You could try some exceptions, but let's say that general rule is you don't run XLs on the Stalkers. There are very minor few exceptions that we will see in a moment, but general rule, you don't run XLs on the Stalkers. Another good one is the Laser Vomit one. It only has 5 heat, but it has more hard points and a higher engine cap. To me, the best setup is this one. Large pulses and ER medium lasers. You could run 4 large lasers and ER medium lasers. You would have more range, but worse damage per heat. And the way I want to go, like this, is maximum heat efficiency. Because the only drawback of laser vomits is heat efficiency. So I want to maximize heat efficiency.
Target acquired. Heat level critical.
This is also good because of the NASCAR. It's faster than the other ones. But it is not standard engine, it's LFE. So once you lose a torso, and on the Stalker it's very likely to lose a torso, that you will lose a torso, having LFE will give you the LFE malus. So maybe like this one and the 3F for quick play are kinda the same, but for how I play, I prefer just having a little bit more range. So 6 regular large lasers on the 3F. Another decent way to set the 3F, because you have 10 heat, it could be like 4 heavy PPCs, high mounted. If you take the 3F, where is it? This, you would need to put a different engine, like an LFE, and you could put like 4 heavy PPCs all up here, high mounted, and peak with the tip of the cockpit. That's also a build that kind of works, and you can try that. 4 heavy PPCs in the arms up high. Then we have the hero, the Misery. The Misery is heavily quirked on the single ballistic that it has, but it doesn't have that many quirks aside from a small laser buff. So the way I run it is a Gauss and 4 large lasers. It also has a crit chance receiving quirk, so the Gauss won't get damaged that much. I mean, it will get damaged, but not that much. The advantage of this kind of setup on the other ones is that the sustained without overheating is a lot more because you have only 4 large lasers. You don't have that many. And the Gauss, of course, is heat neutral. Other advantage that all the weapons are high mounted. So the way you use it is easily you peek like this. Even when you get on a ridge and you want to peek at mid-range, it's pretty easy to do this kind of job because of the mounts. Jiggle a little bit. Jiggle a little bit. I think this is one of the strongest. Then we have the Lurming one. The 3H is quirked on LRM 20s. It's one of the best LRM boats in the game. I'm very, very surprised that people don't run this mech as a Lurmer. You can fit it in many different ways. Like this, 4 LRM 20s. It is massively quirked on LRMs. Or you can even do a mix, like ER large and LRM20s. Like the learning power of this Mech is insane.
Target acquired.
Very excellent heat management, a lot of lures. This works. And now we go to another one. We have the Brawling one. A lot of people don't understand which one is the Brawling one and do stuff like slabbing up snub noses and AC-20 on the misery. Again, these mechs are snipers, they're not brawlers, because of what I said before, with just one exception. I mean, you can do, yes, snub nose and AC-20, you can do it on the misery, but there are mechs that do that a lot better with way more quirks. You can run 3 snub and an AC-20, but you can do it better on other mechs, because the misery doesn't have quirks on AC-20 and snubs combos. It has a lot of quirks for the ballistic, but for the snubs, it has nothing. Just very quickly, 3FB is like the other ones, but with ECM. So you do 6 large lasers, 6 ER large lasers with ECM. So you have one less heat sink, you have less heat efficiency, but you have ECM with you. So this is a Stalker 3FB. We've talked of all of these. Also, very briefly, the 4N is the noob version of the 3F. It has HSL, so you can basically alpha strike those 6 large lasers, not ERs, 6 regular large lasers, or 4 ERs, because of how the quirks go here. But it doesn't have 10 heat, nor 10 range. So if you are very new, and it is a problem for you to shoot 3 and 3 or 4 and 2, then go for the 4N, you just alpha strike it altogether without ghost hit. But if you have a minimum of skill, the 3F and the 5S are better because they have actual quirks like range, heat. And then we are to the Brawling one, which is the 5M, and nobody uses this. Missile cooldown 10, missile range, missile spread, laser duration, and SRM6 HSL. Why people don't use it? Because they start with 5 SRM6s, then they start putting in medium lasers and medium pulses, they overheat, and they change mech. Because people still don't comprehend the power of the small lasers. When you brawl, you need double heatsink spam, because once you are in a brawl, you don't want to overheat. You want to keep shooting, shooting, and shooting. Small lasers are free damage, because their damage per hit values is not even in line with the laser. A small laser is not even a laser, it's like a ballistic weapon. It doesn't heat up, but it does a lot of damage. Like 5 small lasers here, it's 18.75 damage, which is basically an AC-20 with the cooldown of an AC-10. This is what we have, plus all those SRMs without heat problems. So when you want to face fuck people, With this mech, it's pretty easy because when with the, Snub's AC-20, you alpha strike 2-3 times, you do like 50 damage, and then you are overheating, and you have only like 16-17 double heat sinks. With this one, you have more double heat sinks, and you heat up a lot less. And the alpha is a lot more. It's like 13 multiplied per 5 SRMs, 65 plus. Oh no, it's basically 83, 84 alpha strike. More alpha for a lot longer. Of course, you need to be able to wait, hide properly in somewhere, and then jump at the neck of your enemy. But the heat efficiency of this is absurd. It just doesn't heat up. And I'm also shooting a lot faster than I would with Snubs, because the cooldown of this is pumped to the sky compared to AC-20 Snubs cooldown. And then of course it cools off very quick.
Target acquired.
Why don't you put Artemis? Because it would cost me 5 double heat sinks. I don't want to lose 5 double heat sinks for a little bit of spread reduction. Spread isn't even that bad because the missiles start all together from near the cockpit. And I don't have Artemis. Like if you do a test on a mech like this, let's say that we want to go in a typical brawling range, which is like this, and I go for the, I don't know, for the side torso. It's already open orange. The spread isn't even that bad. I don't want to lose 5 double heat sinks. That's it for today, guys. We're done. If you enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, share the content with your friends. I'll catch you guys next time.